Welcome to another episode of Speakeasy. My name's Adonis. I'm here with Matt and Luis as per usual. How's it going today, boys?
It's going good. How are you doing, dude?
I'm all right.
Luis?
Good. Finally got a drink in me.
Nice.
No, just kidding. I should get food, guys.
Yeah, so we're back to have more quality conversations fueled by quality crafted cocktails. We're going to have a fun episode for you guys. We did a little bit of something different on this week's recording session. We actually recorded a sidebar episode that is actually, it should be up by the time you guys are listening to this one. But we had a conversation with Luis's brother, actually, who works in immigration, who works for a nonprofit organization. So we had him on to talk about all of the recent stuff that's been going on in the U.S. When it comes to immigration and ICE and all that stuff. So that was a little bit more of a serious conversation that we had. So we wanted to keep it separate from this main podcast because, just felt sort of awkward to have both of those conflicting tones in the same episode. So you guys should definitely check that out, though. It ended up being a really good, a really informative conversation and a really important conversation. If I do say so myself, I think it's definitely something that needed to happen, especially in today's social climate. So definitely check it out if you guys have the time. Share it with your friends. We here at Speakeasy want to make sure we're doing our part and helping people who need to be helped. So, but today we're going to be talking about a few things. We got a couple of album reviews we're going to be doing. We've got some fun conversations. We're not going to be talking about, the U.S. being on the brink of World War III. We're going to leave that to the experts because, there's some crazy stuff going on. So we're here to take your mind off of impending doom if we can for just a few minutes.
Absolutely.
All right, so it's June, so we got a couple of things we need to acknowledge. So Father's Day was a couple weeks ago. It's Pride Month. Happy Pride. Happy Juneteenth. Juneteenth was a few days ago. So lots going on in June. So it's always weird for me being able to celebrate Father's Day because I grew up without a father in my life. So
I never knew my father.
Yeah, now that I am a father, it's cool to be able to celebrate it. Father's Day doesn't get a lot of shine, though.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's not really something that is really given that much attention. So I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna try to bring Father's Day back. I'm gonna try to make it a big deal again. Matt, you also, I don't want to put you on blast here, but you also grew up without a father in your life.
Yes.
So let's kick this to Luis first, I guess. Luis, any fathers?
You were lucky enough to have a dad.
Yeah, you were lucky enough to grow up with a...
So we're going chronologically here, not who's the father, but who had a father.
Yeah, we'll start with you, yeah. Sure. What do you have any Father's Day traditions, anything that you and your family do for your dad on Father's Day every year?
Yeah, we absolutely... we actually do. There's a couple traditions, but yeah, I grew up with my dad. My dad worked a lot. Like a lot. I think since I started having memories till about... even now, he'd wake up early and then before 6 a.m. and then get back home later and later. Now it's been earlier, but I'm with you. We got to give recognition to those people that put in the work. I like to celebrate my dad. So the way we celebrate him is, and we do this for a lot of festive days, but we wake him up with las mañanitas. So
okay. Yeah.
I think I've said before.
Yeah.
I've said before, I'm a mariachi and I play the violin. My little sister as well. Excuse me. And my little brother. And so I don't know where it came from, but we got into the habit of as soon as we knew that song, we would serenade whoever's birthday or festive day would be at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. So there was a time where I wasn't living at home, and we did the same thing. I'd drive home early as, pull out the violin. Sorry, I'm sitting wrong.
Open up that airway.
I know, man.
Yeah, he's dying.
So, get there early and then play Las Mañanitas. So
Nice.
we do that. We did that for him this year, and then we try to get together to have like a meal. And most of the time, whoever's being celebrated chooses what meal it is. My dad is big into seafood, mariscos. So we made ceviche. We got together, ate. They went swimming, and that was it. It's a nice, relaxing day together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, for me, like I said, I didn't grow up with the dad, so I'm having to build my own Father's Day traditions. So, yeah, it was a fun Father's Day this year. It was really laid back. It's tough, man, doing things in Arizona when we're at that summer season, even though it wasn't officially summer yet when Father's Day happened last week. It was still hot. It was 111 degrees. And it's just I'm not a heat person. I don't do the heat well. So if it's 110 plus and I don't have a very explicit urgent reason to leave my house, I will not be leaving my house.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because you can say, oh, you're just going to go to the car and then you go to somewhere else. It's air conditioned. Yeah, but the car is hot before the AC kicks in the car. And I'm not trying to be outside, period, when it's 111 degrees. It doesn't exist to me. The concept of outside does not exist to me when it's 110
Just wait till we get to 122, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's disgusting. So
hey, we're getting a cold front, though, of 101 coming up pretty soon.
Right now?
Yeah. So we went out
2 days.
we went out to brunch early. We did that early so we could avoid the heat. My wife picked out a restaurant that was okay. It wasn't the best, but I'm always for trying out new places. So I mean, it's, every place you try isn't going to be a hit. But,
Yeah.
It was a good breakfast. Obviously, anytime I get to spend with my family is great. So it was just cool being able to spend the day with them.
Just the three of you?
Just the three of us.
Okay.
Yeah. It was nice to have that time to just hang out with my daughter, with my wife, to be celebrated as a father. So that was cool. Speaking of breakfast restaurants, though, I did want to sort of have a side conversation on our side conversation. What's your guys' favorite breakfast spot here in the Valley?
Butterfield.
Butterfield or Butterfields?
Butterfield. Butterfield is
okay.
the sister company or some shit like that.
Interesting.
But yeah, Butterfield is amazing.
Interesting. You've talked about it before, but I've never. Where is it?
It's kind of in Scottsdale. Like it's not very. It's like when you get a Shea Boulevard.
Okay.
So it's like you're in Scottsdale, but you're not really in Scottsdale just yet.
Gotcha.
But best omelets and pancakes, great coffee. Like, oof, I love that place.
Gotcha.
But they only do breakfast and lunch. So
Nice. Yeah, never heard of her or never been to her. What about you, Luis? Favorite
I
breakfast spot?
normally don't go exploring for breakfast. I like to sleep in, and so I think my place and my family's place is probably Black Bear Diner.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah,
had them a few times.
Yeah, and one of my old family friends' dad who passed away, he used to be the manager there, and that's what kind of got me to like, let's go there, try it out, and
Oh, nice.
it's nice. Like I said, when we don't know, when we wake up early enough and we want to try something, we'll go there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll hit the regular spots. But
Gotcha. Black Bear, I've had them a few times. Strong American cuisine.
Yeah.
Your typical, country fried steaks.
Exactly.
Stuff like that. So yeah, they're pretty good the few times that I've had them.
here's a fun question.
Yeah.
Who do you think is overrated as a breakfast place? Because I'll go first.
Well,
Cracker Barrel.
let me throw my favorite one out there before you start the negative talk.
All right, my bad.
First Watch is my favorite. Yeah, I love First
Oh,
Watch.
really?
Yeah, I really enjoy First Watch, and mainly because every time I go there, the ingredients and everything just feels super fresh. Like it feels like everything is being cooked and prepared, and like it has just a very fresh feel to it. So like they have some great options also, because I don't eat pork. We were just talking about this off mic. So they have some great non-pork options. That's my biggest hurdle when it comes to breakfast places, is because most breakfast meat is going to be pork. Your bacon, your sausage,
Ham.
Ham. Yeah, it's all pork based. So any restaurant that really has a a wider array of decisions as far as breakfast meats go, yeah, that's where I like to live. And again, yeah, First Watch, I've never had a bad experience with First Watch either. Everything, like I said, always tastes fresh. It's affordable. The portion sizes are good. So yeah, I don't have a bad thing to say about First Watch.
I can't really judge. Like the couple times you've invited us to, every single time I've been hungover. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess I was underwhelmed by their $1 million bacon, and I was like, oh. And again, I guess like
just because of the name, what were you expecting to come out with? Like,
just like
Salt Bay,
no, but like if you're gonna say $1 million bacon, like I'm gonna hope that like it tastes good and like there's a good crisp to it, but it was like just saturated in maple syrup, and I was like,
bacon,
yeah, I was like, oh, okay, you guys, maybe rethink that name,
Yikes.
Candied bacon, but yeah, no, Butterfield, man, you gotta try that place.
Yeah, I might give it a shot. Again, do they have other non-pork options?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my aunt and my mom love it, and off mic we were talking about they don't eat pork.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have a lot of, like, turkey bacon and stuff like that, and, yeah, their omelets are really, really great.
Gotcha. Overrated, I don't know. I don't go to a lot of places that are hyped up in my head, I guess. So, you said Cracker Barrel was yours?
I don't like Cracker Barrel. I don't like Cracker Barrel because I went there, and they do their French toast with sourdough bread.
Oh, okay.
And that to me tasted just absolutely wrong.
Oh, you're not a big fan of sourdough?
Not a big fan of sourdough, no.
Interesting. I like sourdough. Sourdough's got heft to it.
Yeah, it's got heft.
I like it when it's not meant to be sweet, like how I expect my French toast to be.
Okay.
Too much flavor for you, though.
Matt, you guys might not know this about Matt. Matt's a little particular when it comes to his foods in restaurants specifically. I'm a little bougie when it comes to food.
I don't know if bougie is the right word, but I'm definitely very. If something tastes off, sadly I can't hide it. Like even with the drink that we're drinking today, there was a little bit of a tang to it for me, and it made me kind of recoil.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I don't like something, it's like, do you like it? My face probably told you prior to you asking that question.
You can't say that it's like a refined palate or you have
it's not
particular taste. No, like you can't call it bougie. What do you call it? Like just
picky?
Picky. Selective.
So speaking
selective.
Yeah, selective. Yeah. Speaking of the drink that we're drinking today, we are drinking, and I'm going to butcher the name. I've been trying to say it for the past half hour, but I just can't get it out right. Maybe it'll happen here. Caipirissima, which is a Brazilian drink. It's a take on a caipirinha, which is made with Brazilian rum. A caipirinha is made with Brazilian rum called cachaça, and it has limes, sugar, and ice, and that's the drink. This version of it is a Caipirissima, like I said, so it's got the same ingredients. You just swap out the cachaça with normal rum. The recipe called for a light rum. Anytime, and I've said this a million times, but I'll say it again, anytime a recipe calls for rum and then I have the option, I'm going to throw Captain Morgan private stock in there. So that's what we're using today for Adonis's Caipirissima. It's really good. I was sort of expecting it to be stronger than it is, since it is just rum, sugar, limes, and ice. But it's actually pretty smooth. I'm actually really digging it. It's a popular drink in the summer. It's supposed to be refreshing. It's supposed to be basic, something that is sold at a lot of like pop-up stands or street carts. It's just really basic. So the way that it works, the recipe, you take half of a lime, you muddle it in the glass, you add sugar, you add the rum, you mix it up, and then you throw in the ice on top, and that's it. It's basic. I think it's really good. I was actually surprised by how much I'm enjoying it right now. But definitely refreshing. Definitely makes me. It's sort of like a limeade. I mean, it's like an alcoholic limeade. Yeah.
And you have to do it in those steps, right? To make it.
Yeah. Well, because the ice, you had mentioned, Luis, that there was a lot of ice in it, and that's part of it. Because I think without the ice, it's just going to be super strong. The crushed ice melts, it dilutes the drink a little bit, which makes it a little more easier to sip. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, but now that I sit here and think about it, it's really, like an alcoholic limeade.
I'm going to tell you, this is my favorite drink so far.
Hey, there we go. Yeah. It's refreshing, I think. I could see myself ordering this like Again, we always say this on a beach somewhere, like on vacation.
You went to Hawaii one time, and you're like, put me on these beaches all the time.
No, man, I would order this in the hot Arizonan summer at 126 degrees.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it does have a very particular smooth taste to it.
Yeah,
but it's like it immediately makes me think like, dang, this would pair really good with some with either a burger or like a good steak. Something just like you're just sitting there just enjoying your summer day.
Yeah. It's got definitely is something that I think I'll be going back to for sure. I think we got a hit on our hands, boys. All right, so that's the drink of the week. I'll post the very simple recipe in the show notes if you guys want to check it out and make one for yourself. Please do, and sip along with us as we dive into this week's conversation. So, Matt, there might have been some people waiting with bated breath for this next conversation topic. You are the recent owner of Nintendo's newest gadget, the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yes.
We had talked last episode about maybe you keeping track of your time, how much time you spent playing it.
Gotcha.
So I just want you to give like a general review of it. How are you liking it now that you've lived with it for a couple of weeks? Was it worth the wait? Was it worth the money? Yeah, let's dig into Matt's review of the Nintendo Switch 2.
Okay. So I have probably around 40 hours playing it right now, which is at least for me is kind of low.
Yeah.
Because I'm an avid gamer. If I'm at home, I'm gaming.
Sure.
But I prefer my PC. But I've been playing Pokemon Scarlet, and I've been playing Mario Kart World, yeah. Yeah, I said worldwide. Yeah. Sorry. I had a little bit of Pitbull come out of me right there. And so to the first part of it, am I enjoying it? Yes. It's a lot of fun. The new Mario Kart is wild with 24 races. First place is an absolute nightmare because you're getting blue shell by 32 different people. And the updated graphics to Pokemon are really, really fun. It kind of has gone up. Like even though the Switch was awesome, it had a lot of limitation due to its graphics. And it was like you'd have like Pokemon falling through the stage or just weird things happening. In this updated version, it's like playing on a PS4. So for any graphics nerds, it's really, really, it looks nice. And then none of the Pokemon, you'll still have a Pokemon randomly walk up and look at you while you're in the middle of a Pokemon battle with another one, but there's no like phasing through the ground anymore.
Okay.
So it's been a big upgrade for that graphically. Do I think it was worth the money? That's a hard one. So I am not a big Nintendo fanboy. I got the Switch 2, because I had seen that they were making a game from a company I love called FromSoft, and it was going to be a exclusive to the Switch 2. And I was like, well, damn, I don't want to not play that game, so I guess I got to get the Switch 2. Could I have waited? Yes, but the problem is that now it's selling like hotcakes. Every time I've gone to Best Buy, they've been sold out. So it's like, it's worth the money if you are a really big fan of Nintendo and you're excited for Mario Kart, and the new Donkey Kong game comes out relatively soon. And that game does look like a blast. But was it worth $500? I think I could have probably saved the $500, maybe come back in a year or two.
Oh, damn. Okay.
But it feels good. I really like the new Joy-Cons because it's not a button press and slip. You press these levers and then you pull apart because of the magnetics that they have. And it's been nice how big the screen is when you go handheld. But yeah, I think the problem is I'm not a great handheld gamer. Okay. Like I had a PSP. I probably put a bunch of hours in the PSP, but after a little bit, I'm like, yeah, I'm home though. I want to be on my PlayStation. I want to be on the big screen. And even though my Switch is on the big screen, it's like, man, the big part of the big pull is that you pick it up and go wherever you want. So I do enjoy it, but I think I could have waited. I could have waited a year or two.
Gotcha.
I have a couple questions for you. Like, do you think if there had been more content out for it that, particularly hit you, like you said, you're waiting for the game to come out, but like, let's say they, instead of the 3 games they have right now, right? They had 8 or 10 ready to roll out. Would you have given it more?
Ooh, yeah, I think I would have. As much as I love Mario Kart, I think the thing is that eventually at some point it runs its course, and I'm just kind of like, would I really want to keep playing against robots? Or, I'm only really playing if my friends are playing. Yes, if it would have had... now, you can buy the upgrades for the Legend of Zelda games. So you're playing Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild on the Switch 2's graphics, which are really, really nice. But if they would have had at least like 4 or 5 like solid Switch 2 titles, I would have been a lot more... I probably would have been a lot more excited for it.
Okay.
Right now with it just being Mario Kart, and then they have the tech demo game that you have to pay for, where it's like, by tech demo, it's a game that shows you the features that are inside of the Switch 2, but you have to pay for it to do that. I think that's dumb as hell.
Pay for a user manual.
Yeah, you're paying for a user manual. I think if they would have had like 5 solid titles at launch, it would have been more appealing for me.
All right, and then I've got 2 more questions. First of one, so when I got my Switch, and currently still too, like, there's the Joy-Con drift on the left side. Have you seen or read anything that there's been that case or any other issues?
Nothing has come up as of yet. I do believe they tried to build the Joy-Cons a little bit better, because now they're costing $80
to replace. Oof.
Yeah, to get new Joy-Cons is like $80. So I'm hoping that I don't run into it. I haven't run into it yet. And I've been playing, you play Mario Kart and you play Pokemon. There's sometimes that you have to shake the Joy-Con. So I haven't run into anything yet, and I haven't seen anything on Reddit. So I hope they built them to last.
Okay. All right. The last thing I saw was like, it might be more for like the extended gameplay or continuous gameplay. And I'm not taking any like faith into this, but I saw a meme of like the battery in the Switch blowing up. Have you heard anything about that?
Oh, I will. No, I have not heard of the battery blowing up. That's crazy. Mine does die fast.
Okay.
So I think I got a crappy one in that regard. I think I had it unplugged one time for probably 2 or 3 hours, and that thing was already warning me, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna die."
Yeah, I've heard that just in general that the battery life is not great. But I've also heard that that's how the Switch one was at release. Yeah. That they when they put out they improved the battery after the original one had already been put out. So people are saying that it's better than the original Switch 1 battery. So they foresee the same sort of thing happening with the Switch 2, is that they'll improve the battery eventually.
Yeah, I remember my Switch 1 didn't last probably more than an hour and a half offside of the dock. My Switch 2, I think I get like 2.5 hours, 3 sometimes, but it does start warning me.
Yeah, I was, we have our sister podcast, Game Language, if you guys want to check that out. It's a
Game
podcast
Language.
about video games. And they were talking about the Switch 2 in a recent episode. And I think the general consensus they had was, it's got some flaws, but it's a solid system. They spent a lot of time talking about the sales, which I wanted to just get your opinion on. 3.5 million units in 4 days, right? Which is just... nothing has ever come even close to that. And a lot of what I've been seeing, what I've heard from Game Language and from what I've seen online, is that a big part of that is because of how well this launch went for Nintendo. Like having enough available units. I know people were sort of crying and shitting on the pre-sale process, but everybody that I've personally talked to about their pre-sale process was smooth, pretty much seamless. Like nobody that I've personally spoken to about it has said they've had any problems. You hear anecdotes online about people talking about their poor experiences, but everybody in person that I've talked to said it was easy, fine. They went in, they got it, no problem. And just the availability of the systems at launch, that helped with being able to sell as many as they did, because when you have enough available, people will buy them, I think is what the company is learning. When you only make a limited amount, people might want them, but if they're not any to buy, then what do you expect? Like, people aren't going to be willing to buy a PS5 if they can't find one, you know?
Yeah, which is crazy too, because when the Switch 2 was like weeks before the release, people were hooting and hollering saying, no, don't buy the system. Let it, let's stick it to Nintendo because of the whole $80 games. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I don't like. The virtual game cards, now that the way they explain it is like, yes, I did buy Pokemon X, Y, and Z. Not really, but I'm just for example. But I do not own it. So if for some reason Nintendo were to lose the license to that game, I don't have access to that game anymore because I bought the virtual card.
I thought that was I saw something about that being debunked, basically, though, that you still download it onto your console. So as long as you have the console that is downloaded onto, you wouldn't lose anything. Like with
that's good.
The same, and they were also saying like it's very clear when you buy a game if it's a game card or a virtual game key is what they were saying. Like,
yeah,
it's very so if you can still buy a physical game for the Switch 2.
Yes.
But you also can buy a game key for the Switch 2, which is basically just the digital version of it.
But I feel like in this day, though, a lot of more people are more
digital
than they are.
But you could
physical.
buy the physical.
That is true.
Because wouldn't that logic apply to like all the games you download on your PlayStation as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So it's nothing new.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess just Nintendo's never done this before.
Yeah, no, it's the first time.
Okay.
It definitely it's the first time that Nintendo has ever stated it as such.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean, and again, it is great that their pre-sales that they have sold the 3.3 million.
3.5. I saw 3.5 in 4 days. That's just the figure I saw. Yeah,
and it's wild.
Yeah,
it's absolutely wild. But again, it makes sense though. Nintendo is the family game system.
Yeah,
every time kids want it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and I think it's cool because I mean, it's family friendly, right? And I think it's something that when you're playing Mario Kart with your family, you guys can all be in the same room. You can play with your family overseas. It's just, I don't know. As a casual gamer, I don't have an issue with anything that Nintendo has done with the release of this system. I know people who are, the gamers aren't as on board with it.
Yeah.
But as a casual, I everything that I've heard has just been like, yeah, that just seems. It seems fine to me.
Do you think that you're gonna buy? Do you think either one of you guys will buy a Switch 2?
I won't. I don't need one for a while. Like it took me, years to get my Switch. So
yeah,
and I don't play my Switch. So if my daughter decides in a few years that she is super interested in video games, yeah, I'll get one so that we can play it as a family. But yeah, personally, I don't need one right now.
I would say the same thing. Like,
oh, you have to wait for your daughter.
Oh, I guess not. No, I'm casual gaming.
Yeah.
Right now, unless I absolutely need to, and there's a game that I have to have, and it's only on the Switch 2. Like, I don't plan on getting it. I haven't touched my Switch. The only time I touch my Switch, actually, is when my niece comes over, and we're all playing together, and we'll either play Mario Kart, Mario Party. She tried to play Mario RPG, and I told her it's a one-player game. Once we get a little bit older, I'm down to coach you through it, but so I'd rather, like, if I'm gonna be on the Switch, like, it's too big to be a handheld game for me. Do you understand that? Like, I don't want to be carrying that around and then playing somewhere. At that point, I have my phone. I can play something here, or I'm multitasking and doing something else.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, like, when it's chill time, it's got to be on the big screen. Right now, I think the Switch is good as it is. Switch 1, so Switch 2 eventually.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think if I had to rate the Switch, I'd probably get the Switch 2. I'd have to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Only because, again, I think it needed just more games.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be a little premature to get your rating because it's only got the one new game out for it.
Yeah.
I've heard people, and just one more thing before we close this convo out. I've heard people complain about the $80 price tag on Mario Kart, right?
Yeah.
But if you got the bundle, it was only $50 more.
Yep.
And it's the only new game with the Nintendo Switch 2. So, if you bought the Nintendo Switch 2, but you didn't buy Mario Kart World, why did you buy the Nintendo Switch 2?
Why? Why did you?
So why?
What
so
was the point?
So you would, the only people who would have a problem with the $80 price tag would be the people who didn't get the bundle. But so far, I've not seen anybody who wasn't able to get the bundle.
Yeah.
So like, why would you? But people have. I bought it, but I didn't buy Mario Kart. So if I want it later, I'll have to pay $80 for it. But why wouldn't you buy the only game that was released with the console? And if you people are like, oh well, I bought it for future games, then why not just wait until those future games come out?
Yep.
Because they're flippers.
I will say
yeah.
that could probably be a really big aspect of it is the people, like how many of these people who are complaining are scalpers.
Yeah, but that, like, because the Donkey Kong game, I guess, was announced that it's going to be the normal $69.
$69.
So it's like, I don't understand why they made Mario Kart, unless it was because it was the launch game. You know, there's a couple of other nuanced reasons why they could have charged $80 for it. But if this isn't going to be the new trend of $80 games for Nintendo,
why did it happen?
Maybe the $80 price tag was literally just to push people to buy the bundle.
Yeah.
Because they were like, hey, you can either pay the $50 now and get it together, or you can pay $80 later.
That's
so
fair.
you might as well just pay the $50 now.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy. But anyway, so as it stands right now, 3.5. We'll maybe check back in with you in
Like 2 months. Let me play that Donkey Kong game and I'll come
Yeah.
back to you.
Which is getting, people seem to be excited about it.
Oh yeah.
I would-
Donkey Kong Bonanza.
I would wait for like the Pokemon game and do an open world or more of a 3D game.
But that's not Switch 2 exclusive though, is it?
No, but they're gonna be focused on it. I'm saying that because like Donkey Kong, from my understanding, has always been like
Linear.
right?
Yeah.
And this one's
you
gonna be
mean the
linear.
story?
Yeah, the gameplay. Like,
Well, it is, right? But it's more, it's not open world, but
Yeah.
it's not like,
it's got 3D graphics, but the way you play it is
it's not
on a-
Mario
on a one axis.
What's
It's not
the new
Odyssey.
Mario that just came out?
Mario Odyssey?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not that, right?
No.
No.
You can't rotate the camera and move around
Yeah.
in a 3D out. No, this is like you go back and forth on the screen, up and down. You know
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Luis, you wanted to talk about Keke Palmer's new album,
Yeah.
right? Well, I don't know how you wanted to treat this. If you want to jump into your side reviews first, or if you want to jump into your
let's review
main
everything
review.
right
Okay.
away. No.
Take it away.
So before that, I do kind of have to like say I wish I had more time to like re-listen to some of the other stuff that I listened to. So this is why Keke Palmer's like the bigger one, although it's probably the better one too. Instead of staying home last night, I actually got to go see Post Malone.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. His big ass stadium tour, half country, half of his old stuff. It was fun. It was entertaining.
The intro was at the Cardinal Stadium.
It was at the Cardinal Stadium, yeah. Huge. I expected more like stage movement or presentation, but like if you know Posty, like he's an overall charismatic guy, and so all he really needs is him. And I enjoyed it. Like I had fun listening to him.
Who? Let's dig into that a little bit. You got the chance to see it. Did you pay for your ticket? Did you get gifted a ticket?
No. We paid for our tickets. It was a last minute thing. It was like my sister loves to either book last minute flights or last minute concerts.
Yeah, smart.
And yeah, we saw the tickets were like $60, $65, and
Not bad at all.
she's
Okay,
like,
asshole. Couldn't have sent an invite message to Matthew?
I didn't know.
Really?
I did not know, and there was like one seat next to us too. So
Oh, damn.
You
Just
would've
rubbing the
fit-
salt in the
yeah,
wound.
Pouring it on,
What
just
the hell?
pouring it
next
on.
time I know. Well, and
So
then-
unknowns. So just an announcement for everybody: we actually need a new host. It's just down to Adonis and I.
No.
Because Luis is an ass.
literally the concert was yesterday. We bought the tickets the night before.
Yeah, and you
So-
could have sent a message.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Don't feel sorry.
But it was all right. Like the openers, I don't know the names. It was a country tour.
Oh yes.
Right. Yeah. So
I'm gonna just mute my mic for that.
and it's a different type of country. Like you can still you feel something about like the audience. But the second opener that I got to listen to, I missed the first one. He was he was talking about different stuff and singing about different stuff, and then he ended up like doing a monologue because he did a cover of The Fray, How to Save a Life, and I'm like,
okay.
this is new age. I might have to listen more on some of this stuff and more of like what Posty's doing with country, give it a second chance, So overall, it was a good concert. I will say that like maybe I don't do last minute tickets anymore because there were 3 people in front of us. One of the persons, he was a guy in like a American flag cowboy hat, which by the way, technically is illegal because you're defacing the flag, right? So clap back to the other convo we had. But he was like annoyingly buzzed and plastered, and it was distracting everyone around him to the point that like, dude, sit down or go away because we're trying to enjoy the concert. But that was good.
Did he do any of his non-country stuff?
He did. I'd say he probably did like 2 country songs and then one of his older repertoire. So every single song that he's popular for, I got to listen to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any special guest or anything?
No, he did say that Jason could not make it to the concert, but he might be in other ones. Future.
Who's Jason?
Jelly Roll. Right?
Oh, I don't know.
I think.
I didn't know. I don't
think
listen
that's
to
his
Jelly
name.
Roll, so I can't tell you if that's his real name or not. That's cool though. That's cool.
I was gonna be really mad because I looked at the
Jason.
list and it said the Jelly Roll and some another singer, Sierra. I was like, if Jelly Roll was at this concert and Luis definitely didn't invite me,
No, he
I
was.
might throw my whole cup at him.
You're a big Jelly Roll fan?
I really do like his music.
Oh,
I like his I don't remember the name of the song, but it's like I'm just a long-haired son of a sinner. He just talks a lot about like his recovery from like being a drug addict and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And how it's kind of helped him. And like when he won, I can't remember what if he won for best new artist or if it was something on CMT, but he was talking about how like there's something really poetic about being a 34-year-old guy winning this award, because he's like, it just proves that it's your dreams still exist or still possible no matter how old you get. So I was like, I really like that. I really like that that message he put out there.
So he won 3 music awards at the CMTs, and then he won Best New Artist at the Grammys.
Okay, and that's when he stated for the Best New Artist, he made that statement about it was really cool that he won that.
Again, it's new age country, and I'm like I said, I got to give it a second chance. But overall, no guest stars, unfortunately. He said couldn't make it, but it was a fun concert. It was good. Like, it was worth the price value that we paid for it.
Gotcha.
And I will say, like, to what everyone hears, and the person that Posty is, like, he is that person that, like, he lives in the moment. He gives it his all, and yeah, he talks a lot, but he gives back to the guests or the audience. Like, he spent 5 minutes signing autographs trying to get back onto stage.
Yeah, I hear he's a really nice guy in terms of that, and I'd never been to a Post Malone show, so I can't really tell you if that's something I would ever be interested in. I don't dislike Post Malone. He had a few years ago when he started to transition into country, he had made some comments about like he used rap and hip hop to sort of get mainstream so that he could make the music, quote unquote, that he wanted to make. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. That felt kind of icky to me, I guess. If it kind of felt like culture vulture-y, like, hey, you just use this medium that people take seriously to get you to a point to do something else. So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So ever since he made those comments, I've kind of been iffy on him. But I mean, yeah, his old stuff is definitely good and catchy.
Yeah, and I get that. Like, I definitely, I was like, where did this switch come from and this and that? But closer to like what we're going to talk about with the reviews is that like I see him for more of a wholer person after hearing this. And I'm sure like eventually he might want to dive into whatever other music he wants to, and he has the musicality to do it. Like, because if he was able to do so well with his rap and hip hop, and like those are great songs, like they're emotional too. And some of this new stuff that he likes, I think it's poppy. like the country stuff.
Yeah.
But there's one or two songs that like I could feel the emotion behind it too. So like you can convey your emotions in different genres.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Cool. Okay. So with that out of the way, now let's jump into your album reviews.
Album reviews.
You gave us a list.
I did give you guys a list of stuff to like listen to. And again, I'm sure we all had like less time to do so. So I just wanted to shout out a couple people. Youngblood, again, musicality is something I look for, and Youngblood put out the album Idol. It is a rock, alternative rock feel. And like it's something that you can just put in the background but also listen to actively. So I thought it was a good listen to if you guys get the chance to.
Listen, before we go past that, I put on one song and I was like, thank God I don't have to listen to
an
You like
hour of
Youngblood?
that.
I tried, man. I don't. That's not
one
my
song
bag.
is try?
No, that's not my bag. The whole pop punk thing is just not my bag. Okay, I can listen to songs. Yeah, there's some classic songs that I like, but having to sit there and listen to a whole album of that would not. Listen, it's just not my thing. You know, I know I like a lot of different types of music. That's just not one of them.
That's just not one.
What'd you think about it?
For
Youngblood,
Or just in general, I guess.
yeah, general, just general, real quick.
So I've only heard Youngblood. I heard them originally during a Bring Me the Horizon song. I think it was Obey, and I liked the vibe that he had. I mean, I was like, okay, I could listen to more.
Yeah.
I did not, but I didn't initially write him off.
No, it's just like rap isn't for everybody. That genre of music isn't for everybody.
You're entitled to your wrong opinion. It's okay.
I'm entitled to my opinion.
Yeah, and so I had another honorable mention, right? I put Carol G on there, and I'm sure you guys are all shocked. The album was Tropicoqueta. And so Carol G has been around for a while. Like she has this like look and feel to her music, and I think this album was like, I'm not just your Latin, one type of Latin art singer. I'm all Latin. This is all me. So like she took different styles from like salsa, merengue. She had a mariachi singer on there, not mariachi but like bolero singer, Marco Antonio Solis, who's like a man that Albuquerque hasn't sang in like, or hasn't done much big, but he was huge in his 40s, and this man's like closer to like 60, maybe older. So I thought this was like a cool thing for her to do, and just say like, again, representing her whole self in music, and I think this was more of a passion project for her.
She's big, man. I didn't realize she was as big as she is. I just checked her Spotify placement. She's 39th in the world.
Exactly.
Dang.
54 million listeners.
That follows like Shakira level, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Colombian.
I'm sure Shakira's not 39th. I mean, that's like, because I mean, Bad Bunny is like 1 or 2, I think, in the world.
In the world?
because
No
he's so
way,
popular.
Bad Bunny's that.
Yeah, Bad Bunny is huge. For some
Dang.
reason. Yeah.
I'm not discrediting him.
Yeah.
I just crazy to think that he's the number one. I always thought that Swiftie had that just locked down.
And this is just Spotify. Like, I'm not saying like popularity in general, but
I guess that's fair. Apple Music has its own rankings.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Sorry, Bad Bunny is 10th. I give him a little bit more credit than he deserved. But yeah, he's always, as far as I know, he's always been in that top 10 conversation on Spotify. And I wonder, that would be something interesting to dive into, like why these Latin artists are more popular than like why they have such a huge following.
Because they have rhythm. No.
I will say that probably does help.
I wonder if it's like, similar to like when you look at like Ronaldo and his following on social media, like he's got more followers than Beyonce and Kylie Jenner, like because he's soccer,
I guess it's not nationwide; it's worldwide.
It's worldwide, yeah, exactly. So it's probably the same thing, right? Like we in America think that the most popular thing here is the most popular thing in the world, right?
No, it is not.
No, it is not. It's like there are other countries out there who care about more than what we put out as Americans.
I don't even think football
it's not soccer.
is like nowhere near. It's like it's not played anywhere else outside of here in the U.S.
Canada.
I think maybe Japan. Or I mean,
I'm sure there are other leagues out there, but yeah, no. American football is North American football. Yeah. It's America and Canada that really play. The NFL, and not to get too far off topic, they're trying to, because it's popular everywhere, but it's just not played everywhere. So they're trying to expand the popularity of it. There have been talks about some international teams, maybe, but that's I think that's not coming anytime soon. But yeah, I think in the future there could be some like English teams or some,
because the most popular sport
German
is
teams.
Soccer, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
In terms of by viewers, yeah, absolutely.
Dang, wild.
Sure. Yeah. Because it's played everywhere else. Like
Yeah.
like you mentioned, North American football is really only here and in Canada, but every country plays soccer.
Fair enough.
So, but anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to pull you off of that. So her album, but it was good.
Yeah, I mean, and I respect people who like. This is why it's a similar conversation. It's because they're expressing their whole self. It's not just one type of music, and you're typecast into this is the only thing I do, the only thing I play, right?
Yeah.
No, there's more to it. So, loved it. But the main topic today is Keke Palmer.
Keke Palmer. I bet no one expected that one.
Right?
Nope.
I didn't expect it either. I didn't know she had an album dropping. Talk about a triple threat over there.
Yeah, I like Keke Palmer. I'm not a Keke Palmer. I don't know if I would call myself a Keke Palmer fan. I didn't know she sang.
I didn't know she
this
sang
was a
either.
thing.
Oh, I did.
I knew she was. I know she could sing, but I didn't know she sang. If that makes sense. Like I knew she could. I knew she had a good singing voice because I've seen clips of her singing, but I didn't know she was an artist. Like I didn't know she put out her own music until yesterday, or whenever Luis let us know about this.
Yeah. And actually, I think the album did come out. Well, it came out Friday, so a couple days ago. But I listened to this and I'm like, this is Keke. This is fun. It jumped out at me. It had better, cause you had put something that you wanted to review on your list. And
I'm like, get to that a little later.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is good. And this brings me back to like different genres, different styles. My Confession, the song, like that was a great way to drop in a sample without actually sampling the music. If you know what I mean by Usher Confessions.
Yeah.
So I love that play back and forth with that song. And then Amnesia, just like it woke you up and it was like, damn. So I don't know it's pop. Her music is pop, right?
Oh yeah, it's definitely pop.
And I loved it. I want to listen to it again and again. Because it's entertaining. It's also like a storybook, which is a little bit different. Or a journal. Because her album is only 30 minutes long, right?
Yeah, I was saying lots of quick tracks.
Quick little tracks, but I think they're like, to me, it felt like a journal entry, like, or like a scene title. You know, when you swap to the next scene or episode title, right? Mm-hmm. This is the episode, and then this is the song, the bulk of it.
Gotcha. That
was entertaining to me. I'm like, cool. I like that. It's a different take on how to put in a music album together. So, I think I'm gonna add some songs to my playlist.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I liked it.
Yeah, I think what I enjoyed is that kind of like how you said, it felt like a journal entry or a diary entry, because it felt like it was a little bit of a love letter, or not a love letter, but it was like one of the songs was kind of a jab at the guy that she's had her child with, and now she's a single mom and she's kind of like worried like how she's gonna like kind of navigate that. I thought that was very, I hate to say fun, but like the music made it very upbeat in a way. I also kind of liked how she separated it in Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, and the little like breaks she would do in between. It is very Keke Palmer. She has a very fun attitude about the way that she operates, and it's cool to see that she does it in her music as well.
I think like and I want to agree with you like in the fun way, but the word fun is not the right word.
Yeah.
And I thought like maybe bolstered, but unapologetic would probably be the best one.
Ooh, okay. I can get behind unapologetic.
Yeah, just this is unapologetically Keke.
Yeah. No, I respect that.
Yeah. Adonis, what did you have to think about this album?
I'm gonna be honest with you boys. I didn't get a chance to listen to it. Full transparency. We're all about honesty and truth on this podcast. I was planning on it. I had already started when you had posted the list that you wanted us to listen to. I started listening to some of the Youngblood stuff because I thought that was gonna be the album that you picked.
I thought so too.
So after that, I was like, okay, I'll get the Keke Palmer album a little bit later, and a little bit later never came. But I'm happy to just sit back and listen to you guys talk about it. Change the pace for once.
Were you expecting us to have that sort of response with Keke?
No, definitely not. But again, like I said, I can't even really speak to the content of the album because I didn't listen to it. But I have no point of reference for Keke Palmer and her, singer-songwriter capabilities. I'm glad that it's not just like lighthearted stuff. Well, it might come across as light, but like you said, the song with her talking about her ex, I'm glad that there are some serious topics in there, so that'll be cool to check out because I am going to listen to it. Like I said, I'm a Keke Palmer fan. I think she's a very fun personality. I fully expect her to have her own late night talk show at some point in the near future.
Man,
that'd be cool.
I'd like that.
Yeah, just because she seems so fun. She seems so.
Did you get a chance to watch her movie?
Yeah, I've seen the one with her and SZA.
One of them days.
Was really good. Yeah, that was a good movie. It was fun. I don't say good. I don't like to throw around the good word, too generously.
The most enticing part of that movie to me was Keke.
Yeah. I mean, SZA's not an actor. She's obviously a singer first, an actor second, but she held her own. I think Keke Palmer is just she's a great performer, I think, in general. So it doesn't surprise me that she does music because, big chunk of music is performing. So yeah, I'm excited to listen to it. But yeah, like I said, I'm liking what I'm hearing from you guys. The quickness of the songs. I don't know. I like to sink my teeth into things, so that does throw me off a little bit. Because if I hear something I really like and then it's over 30 seconds later, it's gonna be like, oh, I wish that would have gone on for 3 minutes instead of just a minute and a half.
But you repeat it again. I think she was straight to the point with some of this stuff.
Yeah,
so
fair enough. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see what you have to say next time if we remember.
But you have mentioned songs maybe going on the playlist. Any songs you want to call out specifically?
Yeah, Amnesia.
Okay.
Amnesia from start to finish was just in your face. And then I think My Confession, I like that. There was another one that was 125 Degrees. I'm back and forth on that one. That was one of the ones that referenced her relationship and her kid and the baby and all that. So I was like, I like that take. It was a different take on it. So
gotcha.
Nice.
All right, let's rate this thing, or you guys can rate it.
Going off of past ratings and stuff that we've talked about, I'm gonna give it the 10. It was fun. Yeah.
A 10 out of 10?
Yeah, because I'm adding it to my playlist. If that's gonna be if it's on rotation, then that's just definitely got some songs on rotation.
But so you're saying this is a perfect album?
Okay, let's go 9 then.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't think I consider.
You're putting this up there with your all-time best albums that you would rate.
So the only issue, and I think I'm with you on this side, is it was 30 minutes, but it was a fun 30 minutes, and it had me for all of it, right? I mean, with the attention spans going shorter, wouldn't it be a perfect?
Fair enough. If it's not in a 15-second video, I can't watch
I don't care. Yeah. I think if I had to rate this out of 10, I'd probably say it's a 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a good album. The music is very fun, and Keke just again her personality comes out through her singing. So is it a great album? No, I think I would have liked some longer songs. So yeah, 7.5.
7.5, respectable. Yeah. We got to come up with an official scale for you guys.
So. Yeah, because I was doing 1 and 5, and Luis over here goes 1 and 10. And I'm like,
I'll give it a B plus. No, we all just have a different scale.
I would know.
7 butterflies, guys.
Yeah, Adonis brings back movie reviews. He's like, all right, so I'm gonna give this an A. What the frick?
But no, that's cool. I'm excited to listen to it. I'll definitely check it out. So I guess while we're on the music side of things, I'll jump into this review that I wanted to do of Lil Wayne's highly anticipated album, The Carter 6, which is, surprisingly, shocker, the sixth album in the Carter series. So the Carter, it was Lil Wayne's first album. He's done, obviously he's had the Carters 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these are sort of his like tentpole albums. You know, he's done albums in between that haven't been the Carter. But these are the albums that people, you know, pay the closest attention to. These are his, like I said, tempo albums. Rappers do this. Sometimes you'll have like Jay-Z and his Blueprint albums. Like there's the Blueprint 1, 2, and 3. And he's like, those are the albums that people pay attention to. So something more recently, like the Brockhampton Saturation albums. Like Saturations 1, 2, and 3. Like that was its own sort of chapter in Brockhampton's career. So, so this is the latest installment of the Carter series. Lil Wayne has been around for a very long time, since the late 90s, early 2000s. So he's always been in the conversation also as being one of the GOATs, if you will, one of the greatest rappers of all time. A lot of rappers feel that way about Lil Wayne. A lot of rappers will have Lil Wayne in their top fives. Do you guys have much exposure, much experience with Wayne as a rapper?
I would say I listen to his songs when they come on, and if they're on someone else's playlist or if it comes on naturally. I do have like 2 or 3 songs I like. But as far as like my cup of tea, it's not what hits for me, and we'll go in deeper with like the song reviews and everything like that. But for me, like I wouldn't put him in my top 10 rappers.
Okay.
Maybe number 10.
Fair enough.
But like you said, different ways of looking at it. Because like, I definitely get like having your staples and doing this, but I feel like as a musician, you gotta expand at one point or another. Otherwise, you're putting out the same album over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's a fair point. We'll definitely, because I want to dig into this just a little bit, but yeah, he is that sort of for a lot of people, he's one of the GOATs, one of the best. Personally, I've always respected him as an artist. Like I think his ability to write raps is similar to how I feel about like Eminem, where like technically, he's one, you can't deny his greatness as a wordsmith, as a writer, as someone who can rap. So he's always gonna, and that's why I respect him so much, is because he's so good at the actual skill of rapping. You know, same reason people give Eminem his flowers for being, you know, able to put together words and rhyme schemes and metaphor and simile and like all that stuff. Like same way people give Eminem his flowers for that. I think the same flowers have to be given to Wayne, because he's on par with Eminem in terms of his ability to write.
And we'll have to like, I want to know like exactly what qualifies that. Because I'll make a reference later about like being able to do wordsmith. Like, what do you have to do in order to like make it flow like this, or what are you looking for specifically? That's what I mean.
Gotcha. Yeah, so yeah, the way I want to approach this a little bit differently, just because hip hop is my bag. We talked about pop punk earlier, and it's not my thing. Yeah. But hip hop is where I live. I do enjoy other genres of music, but if my default, my true north is gonna be hip hop. So when I'm reviewing or looking at a hip hop album, I'm looking at four pillars in terms of 4 goalposts, if you will, 4 things. So there's the skill aspect of it, which like I just talked about with Wayne and Eminem, that's your ability to rap. The actual hip hop is the genre of music. Rapping is what you do if you're a hip hop artist. Okay. So that's your ability, and the main part of that is your ability to write. So that's a very important pillar. That's a very important goalpost. You need to know how to rap to be a good rapper. So you need to know how to write to be a good rapper. So we talked about, like I just said, rhyme scheme, you know, structure, like knowing where to make the rhyme happen in the bar, knowing, how to manipulate that to fit a different scheme. Like, that's all skill. That's all things that not everybody can do that. So that's what's impressive when people talk about rappers. And that's why Eminem has been so celebrated and is often considered one of the greatest for so long, because of his ability to rap. So skill, that's a pillar. So that's a very important pillar. A lot of people consider that to be the pillar. Another important pillar for me is structure. So this is what you can be the greatest rapper, skilled rapper, talented, technical rapper in the world. But if you can't put together a song, then you're just going to be a guy who can rap. You need to be able to structure a song, which in most cases is a chorus, a verse, a chorus, a verse, and a chorus, and a verse. Exactly. But you need to know how to manipulate that, because like you just mentioned, Luis, you can't just do that forever and expect to make any impact on music. So you have to know how to put together a song so that people can listen to it and enjoy it and it hold their attention. So structure is a very important part. There are so many crafted and talented rappers out there who can't put together a song to save their lives, and that's why they'll just live in obscurity for the rest of their life, because it's music, right? So you have to be able to structure it in a way that people can listen to and enjoy. So that's another pillar. Style is another pillar where I think is very important. That's your voice. That's the cadence in which you rap. That's the production that you choose, like the beats. That's also very important, because you need an image, right? You need something to set you apart from everybody else who raps. So style, what you bring to the table in terms of setting yourself apart, that's a very important pillar.
I would say that's like an identity or your primary style, right? And then you can branch off.
You can branch off, but that's all a part of your style, right? We all know when we're listening to DMX. We know DMX. I don't know if you guys listen to DMX, but he's a very grungy voice. He barks on his music.
Is he going to give it to you?
Yeah, exactly. So he's somebody who oozed style, because that everyone listened to DMX, you knew exactly what you were getting, and you got that, and you were happy with it. And then the final pillar for me is substance, and this is my most important pillar, is what you rap about. So being able to rap is important, but the substance of your lyrics to me is the most important thing. What are you saying? Anybody can just get on a mic and, well, not anybody, that's dismissive, but you can, if you know how to rap, you can get on a mic and you can just spit a bunch of bars that sound really good, are technically efficient and proficient, and they sound great. But if you're not saying anything in those bars, like, why do I personally need to listen to that? So substance, again, that's the content of your lyrics, the content of your songs, what you're rapping about. Hip hop to me it was built off of the backs of the blues, which we all know stems from the pain in the community. So the hip hop is a branch of that. So I always feel like if you're a rapper, you need to honor that. We need to know there needs to be substance in your music. You need to be rapping about something that people care about. That's what separates a real hip hop artist from a pop artist. That's what makes the difference, in my opinion. So those are the 4 pillars that I judge every rap album off of. So with this album specifically, with the Carter 6, I think Lil Wayne, we've talked about it enough. He checks that skill box. He knows how to rap. He knows how to put words together to make them, sound good together. He knows about rhyme scheme. He knows about sentence and metaphor and simile. He knows all that. He's great at that. That's true on this album, like it is for all of his other albums. He knows how to rap. Style. This one was a little bit rough for me because the production on this album was not great. I think he missed. There was a lot of swings and a lot of misses on this album in terms of the song selection. There was some truly baffling production on this album. A song that people hated from this album was actually produced by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, wow.
Which is a song called Peanuts to an Elephant. And it's when you're looking at it in terms of like, as a hip hop song, as a rap song, it is pretty bad. But yeah, it's one of those things where you're like, man, he heard this and he picked this beat to rap over, and it's a little mind boggling.
I listened to it and it makes more sense now because I'm like, going to like the substance part of it. I liked what he had to say, Peanuts to an Elephant, or in the song Peanuts to an Elephant.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. I had to be a couple of listens through to be able to listen to the song.
Actually listen to it. Yeah. So I think his production was not great. His production choices were not great on this album. It was sort of like you mentioned, Luis. It was just like he just got on the track and he just started rapping, and it was like every single track was, I'm gonna just jump on and I'm gonna rap. So there wasn't a lot of variety in his style. It was just the same thing every single song, which leads me into the substance part of this. There was no substance in this album. It was just a lot of talking about nothing, the same things that we hear about all the time when we think about the cliches in rap: money, drugs, women, jewelry. Like that's what all this album was. And it was
Young
just
Money or Young Money.
Yeah. So it was just a lot of that. It was a lot of him just being braggadocious. That's fine for a couple of songs, but to do that the entire album it makes it a lot harder to listen to.
Kind of feels like he's stuck in the 2000s then, because I feel like that's where he was really popping off.
Yeah.
And that kind of like substance of music hit high in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to evolve, man. You got a lot of new people coming out who are bringing their new stuff to the table, their new ideas. And you can go the tried and true way, like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, it might not hit.
I don't know if it was necessarily being stuck. I think he at some point. So when did he start like producing this album? Because I think a lot of it had to do with like not getting picked to be able to go to the Super Bowl and all that drama, and he just left the blinders on, got mad. I'm gonna make a album about myself and say this and what I know. And that's what it felt like.
Yeah, that's a tough question, because a lot of these songs just felt, there was no cohesion in the album.
No.
It was just random song after random song after random song. So this album, and one of the songs I heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, so take it with a grain of salt, but that one of the songs was like a deep cut from an older project that was like 10, 15 years old. So the fact that you can just say, oh, hey, I like that song I did 15 years ago, let's throw that on this new album. And to be honest, each of these songs could have been that. Each of these songs could have been something that he recorded yesterday or something that was recorded 10, 15 years ago. So I think to Matt's point about that, it feeling like he's stuck in the 2000s, I think he just hasn't changed at all over the course of his career. That something he did 15 years ago can sound exactly like something he did yesterday.
Yeah.
So it is just, but that's always been sort of his thing. He, like, the Carter 2 and the Carter 3 are heralded as like two of the greatest hip hop albums of all time, and they are. It was when he was first coming up. They're really strong, really powerful albums, but just it doesn't necessarily translate well to something that should be released in 2025. And it just felt random. It just felt, like I said, just messy, just random, just pointless. Like there's nothing impactful in this album.
I think it was a cameo album.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, I'm gonna show you guys. And the hardest thing is that since he can still rap, since he's still one of the best rappers, like, again, that the skill of rapping, it's just disappointing that you can't do enough with that talent to put out a good album. Like it's almost like if you had like fallen off in your ability to put rhymes together, and you gave us like shitty production and random tracks and
no story,
low effort, but if you were also bad at rapping, it would almost be an easier pill to swallow, because I could just write you off. I just like, you're done, like hang it up, it's time to give up. But you can still rap, so it's like you still have this ability, you still have this talent, and you're just sort of wasting it because you don't know how to put a song
wasting
together
it, man.
anymore.
It's hard term.
It's tough, and that final pillar of like of structure, it just the songs are just random. It gets to a point where he's just repeating the same verse over and over again, and like one of the songs is like 5 minutes long, and it's literally just the same 8 to 10 bars that just repeated. It's like, man, we didn't need this to go on for this long. It's just a bad album. It's just not good.
So better or worse than Andre 3000's experimental flute song, flute album?
No, that's like comparing apples to
orangutans.
Yeah, it's like you can't even compare the two. But this album is definitely like there are a couple of songs off of it that I will say were good. But overall, it's just not a good album. Nothing that I'm gonna go back to. There are a couple of songs that I can listen to, but nothing that I need to listen to again. Nothing that I need to like add to my playlist. So, but like I said, he can still rap. He still has that ability to rap. So I can't like completely shit on it. So if I had to give it a score, I would have to, just to stick with what we've done this episode out of 10, I would probably go a low 4, maybe like a 4.3.
Wow.
Out of 10. Just because there were some
you
songs,
had no fun at all.
There were a couple of songs that were fun that I can't, like I said, that I could listen to, that I wasn't like trying to avoid pressing next over, but they were few and far between. I'm giving him a 4. I feel like that's being me. I feel like that's me being generous.
That's generous. Ooh.
Yeah, because of his ability to still rap. So it's like I'm not ready to write him off as an artist yet. But it's tough. I'm almost
but he's on thin
to that
ice.
Point. Yeah. It's like, because being able to rap can only get you so far, and that's why I've not really been like a fan of Eminem over the last 10 years, because like Eminem can rap. Nobody can ever take that away from M as a rapper, is that his ability to rap. But it can't be 2025 and you're still talking about Christopher Reeves and Caitlyn Jenner. Like, come on, bro. Like, we gotta get past this. Like, this is so dead, it's not even funny. Like, let's talk about and do something different. Like, like, you gotta grow up at some point. You can't be, you're 50. Like, what are we doing here?
Don't tell it to the fanboys.
Yeah, it's just, and it's so disappointing because you have people out there making real music and real substantive, like, tracks, and it's just like, we just want to hear Eminem talk about gay people.
Adonis can be on your next diss track. So.
Yeah.
No, Matt, do you want to go or I can go?
You can go.
Okay, cool. Straight up, I thought this was a 1 out of 10.
Oh man. And
I'm sorry, but when I can guess a verse that you're gonna drop just by the title of the track, like, that means you got to step up your quality. And so like Bells, I was like, he's gonna say hot as hell's. A minute in. Hot as hell.
Yeah.
Yep. We didn't need to have Island Holiday be made into
that was a
rap.
Song.
That was rough. That was rough. And then, like, for me, if your guest vocalist, or if you're, who you're
Jelly
bringing
Roll
in,
is on this album. Yeah.
Huh?
He's got a song with Jelly Roll on this album.
Exactly. No, if their stuff is more catchy and has more substance than the stuff that you are singing, rapping to, like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I'd rather listen to them. So, I'll give it another go just to see if I can pick stuff out. But and I again, the music, there's substance there, but it wasn't from him. You Sharks, like, the parts that Jelly Roll sang, like, I like that. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I get it, but it doesn't feel rap to me. So,
yeah, I went when I saw this album, I was like, what's the last song that I listened to of his? And it was oh my gosh, it was the rock song when he was having like a weird, not a weird, but he was having a stint of being like a rocker for a little bit.
That was fun.
He did a couple of albums, I think. Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed those.
Really? That's interesting.
I mean,
I guess that's not that interesting. It makes sense.
Yeah, good
like
guitar
rock
riffs.
Yeah.
And I think for me also, I'm someone like, if you get my body moving, I'm having a good time.
Did your body move?
Not at all. It moved to the next button a couple times. My thumb moved.
Yeah.
Not even when Andrea Bocelli's voice was inspiring.
Jelly Roll was great. But yeah, 1 is hard, a 4 is hard, but I think I'm somewhere between like a 3. It wasn't for me. Like,
fair enough.
When I think back on like rap that I've been listening to more consistently now, like with Brockhampton, a little bit more of like the past Post Malone, and even just a few other people, I was like, this isn't something I would add to my add to any of my playlists. This isn't something I'm going to come back to like, maybe I was too harsh. Nah, it wasn't for me.
Maybe
So,
like
I can't say a 1 because I don't want to sit there and say he didn't try, but I'm going to say a 3.
yeah, and I would say like I think he's just stuck.
It feels stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna move past Lil Wayne. You tried, buddy, but you gotta try harder. So we're gonna go to Luis. You wrote goats on here. What does that mean?
The greatest of all times, goats. Since we were going over music, and we had a couple reviews, I figured let's take a time to define what goat actually means to each of us. It's the greatest of all time, and like right off the top of your head, who's someone that embodies that?
We're talking music goats?
Overall,
General.
general. Like let's take three different people, and then just kind of see how they land. And I haven't thought about like who mine would be, so I'm pulling them off the top of my head as you guys do. But I think Michael Jordan is one of the goats for me.
Okay.
I think Tom Brady is one of the goats for me.
Okay.
And then music wise, or actually, I'll give you this. I think Michael B. Jordan,
The greatest actor of all time?
has now for me become someone that's like, it would have gone to Will Smith, but he fell.
That's interesting.
He fell.
That's interesting.
So, yeah,
So I mean, okay, that's a list.
that is a list.
That is a list.
We like our list here.
You went two people
Two
who I think
sports.
most people would agree with.
Yeah.
Two sports is also an interesting choice coming from you. You're a sports guy, but you're not a big sports guy. So it's interesting that those two people popped into your head.
But I can respect.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. What is to answer your own question then? What's your criteria for greatest of all time?
They have to be someone iconic in their field. So greatest, right? The greatest in their field. I think they have to be able to expand and influence others. So be a role model and be able to just be that pillar. I think they have to be able to branch out into different things and try. And then the last part is just the entrepreneurship of it. While being themselves. Like I think they hold to who their characters are. So
Gotcha. Okay. Michael B. Jordan. That's when we're gonna have to dig into a little bit. Like what makes Michael B. Jordan?
Michael B. Jordan? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, we can go to that one last. I do have another person, and I'm thinking right now, I'm like, this one has recently popped up into my list, but The Rock. So
Also interesting.
I know.
At what?
At what?
Yeah, The Rock, greatest of all time. In
being himself.
Aren't we all go to that case?
I would like he started his career in wrestling, but he started expanding, and he does an amazing job at like acting, like and what he gives afterwards. He might not be like award-winning actor yet, but I could see that coming.
Okay, I mean, but I think if you say GOAT, right, it's got to be.
They got to be.
You got to have something that they're the GOAT
in.
in. So was he the greatest wrestler of all time? Is he now the greatest actor of all time?
No.
So how can he be a GOAT?
And that's why we're defining GOATs. Like,
okay,
to me, it's someone iconic.
So he's just a GOAT at life.
Yes, he is a GOAT at life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some interesting picks.
Like, get your list, and then we can start breaking down each other's lists. Come on.
Okay, Matt, you want to go next?
Yeah, I would say for me, I think Mike Tyson, greatest, one of the greatest of all time boxers.
Okay.
Dude was a powerhouse. People were scared to fight him. It was an upset when he lost to Buster. But I think for that stint that when he was there, young Mike Tyson was an absolute monster. So one of the greatest of all time boxers. I would say actor wise, I got to give it to Denzel. I recently went by, like somebody was talking about movies of his that they didn't like. And I was thinking about it. I was like, I hate him in Fences because he plays such a mean character.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever had a movie of his that I didn't immediately think, damn, he's hitting it home though.
Yeah.
Even What was the one that you made me watch? Where his son has the enlarged heart.
John Q.
John Q. I've never even seen that movie prior, and then you and I watched it for movie docs, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I've disliked a single movie of his.
Yeah.
The Equalizers after the first one, they kind of got a little saturated.
Yeah, but he's never the reason.
He's never the reason why it's bad.
Yeah.
And
I think
then
it's more the writing.
Yeah, I think the writing was the Equalizer's problem. So, sports star, actor, and then for music, because I'm gonna try and spruce up my list.
Yeah.
I would say I got to give it to Queen. He's one of the greatest musicians. Maybe just Freddie Mercury, but I think when you think of anthems, like you still hear "We Are the Champions," you still can get these amazing emotions from Queen as a whole that I think like they'll always kind of stand the test of time. I love, like, one of my honorable mentions would be like Elton John, just because very fun music. I haven't listened to a song of his that I thought sucked, or didn't hit as well as I thought it should, but Queen definitely still, I think that they just have music that just will stand the test of time.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. No one's gonna argue with that. I think they're definitely, their music is definitely timeless. It's interesting though. The Queen, like, I'm not arguing that choice at all, but it's like you rarely see them on like a list of GOATs. I feel like they're not like the staples that you see at the top of greatest
which is
artists
weird
of all time. Yeah,
but
like usually see the Beatles up there, maybe.
And
I do love the Beatles, but my problem is that it's not my music.
it's not relevant now.
Well, it's not relevant because I still love Here Comes the Sun.
Their music is definitely
Hey Jude is still beautiful, but it's like if I'm like, okay, I got to get this day going, or I got to get something to get me pumped up.
Yeah.
Queen will be who I go to more so than I would go to Beatles. Beatles, if I'm like trying to feel melancholy, or again, if I'm just like, just in like a, in a mood where I'm not needing to get pumped, I just want to chill, I'll listen to that. But even then, Queen still has music that's very chill to listen to.
Yeah.
So those are my three.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, Denzel, and Queen.
Yeah, because I don't want to double up because you guys have both picked people that I would definitely pick. Being Tom Brady and Denzel is one of the GOATs for sure. So I'll go with acting. I'm gonna go with my GOAT, Meryl Streep. She's just
fair choice.
She's just like you said, not every movie that she's in is great, but she's never the reason a movie is bad. Like she's never the problem.
She's a really good chameleon too. She takes those roles so well.
Just like Denzel. I think her and Denzel are like two of the greatest performers we've ever seen. I think you could also throw like Frances McDormand in there.
Where'd you put Woody?
I think Woody's good. I don't know if I could consider Woody a GOAT. I think there's less prestige around Woody Harrelson.
Okay.
I think you need to be consistent, and that's why I think it's hard for these up and coming actors like a Joaquin Phoenix to ever be considered like a GOAT, in my opinion, because they are more selective about the roles that they take, which is great. Yeah. That's awesome that you have that. Your ability as an actor has afforded you the right to do that, but you don't necessarily put in the work that these other actors put in. So you have less of a sample size for me to judge your work on.
Exactly.
I can look back on Meryl Streep's, 50-year career and say like, oh, this is, she was great from here until here. There might have been a couple hiccups in here, but like, I'm always going to respect you. The more work you do, if you only take 5 jobs in your career, then how can I really judge your talent? If you're that selective.
I think Meryl Streep's worst movie probably has to be Devil Wears Prada. I'm just kidding.
This guy.
Meryl Streep she's so good. She's completely immersive. Like you watch her performances and whatever she's in, like I don't know who mentioned that she's a chameleon, but she like can fit in whatever role perfectly. Like you can go from loving her in something to hating her in something very easily. Like she's done so much. She's in my opinion, she's a perfect actress because she can do it all. She's done it all. It's not hypothetical with her, it's like we don't have to think about what she could have done because she's done it all. She's a highly decorated, performer, which I know isn't everything. Like, awards aren't everything, but being recognized by your peers is meaningful. So the fact that she has been nominated for more Academy Awards than anybody else is an impressive thing.
Damn.
Yeah. So I think that she's the standard in my opinion in
I had
terms of acting.
such a crush on her in Death Becomes Her, and I
Yeah.
I remember like watching that as a kid and being like, she's so pretty. And that movie's like lightly creepy when you're
Yeah,
a kid,
definitely.
and then getting older and being like, that was Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
So she would be one of my goats. I'm gonna go Michelle Obama. I'm gonna say is the goat of first ladies. Michelle Obama is just an incredible person. I don't want to pull a Luis and give somebody a goat of just life. So I'll say she's the goat of first ladies. She's just such a great person. She was such a force when she was in the White House. She used her time and her opportunities well. You know, like I think she made an impact on the country when she was in the White House. You know, when her husband was in the White House, but you guys know what I mean. She's just a great person. She's awesome. So I'll go with Michelle Obama.
Definitely can't argue with you on that one, because I feel like when you think about the two, I don't know if juxtaposition is the right term.
Yeah.
But like the comparison, the difference in when she was first lady, she's going to school, she's doing everything that she's doing.
Yeah.
And then the now current first lady,
Yeah.
I forget that she's there. I'm like, I hear so little of her, and like, is that a bad thing? Is that a good thing? I don't know. It's a forgettable thing.
Yeah. It depends on who you ask,
Yeah.
if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
There's been a lot of first ladies that have had impact, but I think she's had the most impact. And
Yeah.
has been the most present and been able to just expand as well too. So
Yeah.
Not to blow smoke, but I feel like the only other one I've ever heard that did as much was Eleanor D. Roosevelt.
I mean, you could make depending on who you ask, like Hillary Clinton was very active as her time as first lady.
I was a young child.
Yeah, I feel like Hillary was.
I didn't know Eleanor though.
She was so qualified that it's like, hey, she could have also been president while Bill was president. So I think she. I don't know. Like, I think it's a little bit different in that regard, but I think Michelle, in terms of the office of first lady, I feel like she definitely did the most with it. Yeah. And then third, let's see, is there anything we haven't touched on? We touched on sports. We touched on movies,
music,
politics.
social media. No, just kidding. Humanitarianism.
I can't even say. I was gonna say like a chef, but it's like it would be hard to judge a chef based off of what I see on TV because I've never
Without
been to these
eating the
famous
food?
chefs,
Yeah.
restaurants. So
shout out Gordon Ramsay.
yeah.
Gordon Ramsay.
Can we try your filet mignon, please? Your beef Wellington.
Dude, Hell's Kitchen. Still one of the best places.
Okay, this one might get me in trouble, but I'm gonna say it. I go for me. My GOAT stand-up comedian is Dave Chappelle.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think Dave Chappelle. I know he's controversial. I know that, and I accept that.
Wouldn't Eddie Murphy be?
No, I think personally,
I think Dave Chappelle
watch
wins.
more. When I watch Dave Chappelle, I laugh more. I think more. I reflect more when I watch Dave Chappelle stand up than I do with any other stand up comedian. He just hits it out of the park every time. Yeah, are some of his statements and some of his topics controversial and maybe a little short-sighted? Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a little problematic, absolutely. But Dave is somebody who's always going to say what he thinks. He's always somebody who's going to not back down. So I respect that about him as a person. I don't agree with everything he says. Obviously, I just want to throw that out there. But I think he is someone who puts together a stand-up special, and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to laugh at most of it. And like I said, a big chunk of it is going to make me think. So I would have to say, as if I had to pick somebody who's had the most impact on me and who makes the most impactful stand-up comedy, it would have to be Dave Chappelle. So I think that qualifies. I think your impact on an industry also has to factor into you being a GOAT or not. If we're talking about criteria,
Exactly.
Yeah, good or bad,
Genre or this or that. Yeah.
No, I actually, Dave Chappelle definitely is a very
Polarizing.
fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, polarizing comedian because he does have some stuff where I'm like, yeah, that's the old head, that's the
Yeah.
stuck in his ways guy. But then sometimes his storytelling to his jokes they just twist and turn.
Oh my God,
and they're
man.
so fucking hilarious.
And you're just like enthralled the whole time.
Yeah.
Like even the non-funny stuff, even the like serious stuff, you're just like he has you engaged and locked in just with his delivery. It's so good.
I could still go back and watch some of his comedy skits. It's just good.
Yeah, no, he's definitely the comedian I've shared the most with people. I'll like send clips, and I'm not a clip sender, but like if I'm gonna send clips, it'll be from Dave Chappelle stand up if it's from a stand up. And no disrespect to those classic artists like you mentioned, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. There's a lot of other people out there who deserve that title of GOAT, but Bill Cosby, George Carlin, you've got all these famous comedians who, Mitch Hedberg, your favorite guy, Matt.
That's my dude.
So lots of great iconic stand-up comedians, but I think Dave takes it for me personally. All right, so with that, that's going to wrap up our episode this week. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, guys. We appreciate it. As always, links to all of the social media and streaming services is going to be in the show notes, but just for quick reference, you can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, at Speakeasy. You can find us on our socials at Drink Easy, Speak Easy, so make sure you guys are following us there. We appreciate any and all feedback that you guys want to send our way. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this week's episode. Thanks so much again for listening. And until next time, my name's Adonis.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Luis.
See you guys later.
Later.
Bye.